Hi, Mrs. Young here, and today I'm going to talk about drawing Bohr models. Remember that Niels Bohr said that the electrons orbit a nucleus in specific orbits, like planets in the solar system. So before we get started, I want to draw your attention to the picture in the bottom right-hand corner that shows the different energy shells. So just keep this in the back of your head. You have the nucleus in the middle, and then you have the first shell that can hold 2 electrons. The second shell can hold 8 electrons, and then the third shell can hold 18 electrons. So we'll talk about that a little more as we go through. So before starting your Bohr diagram, you need to find your element on the periodic table. You need to find the atomic number because this is going to tell you how many electrons you need to draw for that specific atom. So if you're looking at carbon, you'll see that its atomic number is 6. So that would mean that you would draw 6 electrons, because remember, the atomic number is the same as the number of protons in an atom and the number of electrons. So for carbon, we're going to be drawing 6 electrons. Next, you want to find out what period or what row your element is in. This is going to tell you how many energy shells you need to draw, or how many energy shells that atom has. So carbon, you can see, is in the second row. That's the orange row. That would mean that there are 2 energy levels, or 2 energy shells for carbon. So to start, you're going to make your nucleus, and your nucleus is going to be the element symbol. So for carbon, we know it's C, so we put C in the middle. We also know that it has 2 energy levels because we looked and saw that it was in period 2, so we're going to draw those around the nucleus. So first shell, second shell. Now we can start placing our electrons. Remember, we said that carbon has 6 electrons, and so we're going to start filling up our shells. We start with the shell that's closest to the nucleus. And remember, the first shell can hold 2 electrons. So that's where we're going to put the first 2. So 1 and 2. So then we still have 4 electrons left that we need to place. So now we're going to go to the second shell and place those 4. So remember, I said that the second shell can hold up to 8 electrons, but we only had 4 left. So that's why we're only putting 4. If you were to count all of these up, you would see that we now have 6 electrons, and you have a properly drawn carbon atom. So let's go ahead and look at another one. Let's look at helium. If you were to draw helium, you would know that the nucleus would be the symbol He. If you were to look on the periodic table, you would see that helium falls in the first period, so that means it would have 1 energy shell. Its atomic number 2, so that means we have 2 electrons that we need to place. So if we were to draw that out, it would look something like this. You can see helium, the symbol's in the middle. It has 1 energy shell and has 2 electrons in it. So now let's look at lithium. Lithium falls in the second period, or the second row, so that means that it would have 2 energy shells. Its atomic number 3, so that means there would be 3 electrons. And our nucleus would show an Li for lithium. So drawing it out, it would look something like this. 2 electrons in that first inner shell, and then 1 electron in the outer shell. Looking at boron, boron falls in the second row as well, so that would be 2 energy levels with 5 electrons total, because 5 is the atomic number. Remember, the atomic number tells you the number of protons in an atom and the electrons. So you would have 2 electrons in that inner energy level, and then 3 in the second level. If you added those all up, and you see that there's 5. And then finally, let's look at neon. Neon also falls in the second period, which means there's 2 energy levels. You would have 2 electrons in that first energy level, because remember, the first energy level can hold only 2 electrons. And then we would have 8 left over, because neon has a total of 10 electrons. And that second shell we know can hold up to 8 electrons, so we can go ahead and put those in, and we have a very happy atom, because remember, neon is a noble gas. It's very stable. It has a full outer shell. It has those 8 electrons, so it's happy. So that's how you draw Bohr models, and I hope you find that helpful.